Hello, welcome to Jack's Tech Corner. Hey, today guys, we're going to try to upgrade my Dell PowerEdge 1850 server, and this server we're going to be putting in the VMware 5.5. Right now I have VMware 5.1 on there, so we're going to try to do an upgrade, and I want to do a test upgrade on my home server before I do this in my corporate network. And the reason is, obviously, it's to make sure that it's not going to mess up my VMs. I have two VMs on here, and we're going to make sure that we can upgrade these things and not kill the VMs. So we're going to turn it on here and put the disk in. It's going to get just a little bit noisy in here, and real soon with these big fans running. So let's go ahead and we're going to get started with this right now. Try to hit the delete key or the F12 key here to try to bring up the boot menu. It's actually F2, but we're going to see if it'll boot to the CD-ROM drive or to the DVD drive here. Once we get to the setup screen, so I'm going to zoom this camcorder in so you guys can see closer on the monitor what's going on. And again, as I said, we're trying to upgrade from 5.1 to 5.5 of ESXi from VMware. That's what we're working on today. Try to move this microphone down here a little bit. The one thing I have noticed about these Dell PowerEdge 1850s, I actually purchased this one on eBay from a company that was changing their racks off. So they were selling their old servers off. So I figured, I told the wife, I said I'm going to pick one up. And I use this server to teach a lot of my online classes, the online courses that you've seen advertised and you hear me talk about all the time. You can find those at jackstechcorner.com or tipsfromtheserverroom.com. You can find those online courses. And I use a lot of those courses, and I use this server to teach those, and it makes it just a nice setup for me. So we're going to see here if we are going to boot from the DVD drive. We'll see if that's going to happen or not. And if not, we're going to have to make a couple changes here, maybe on my BIOS of the server. And the hard drives are spinning up right now. And we'll see if we can get into this menu here. Hopefully it works the first time. We can boot from the drive. And here you go. It says boot from the local disk or boot from the ESXi 5. This is actually 5.0 on here, and it looks like it's going to load that up. It's seen the CD-ROM drive, and we're going to try to load up here. The ESXi installer is installing, so it did see the CD-ROM drive. We're going to zoom in here now so we can go into the screen and to have a look at this. I'm actually going to come behind the camcorder right now, because what I want to do here is we are going to show you this installer here. So let me put this down here a little bit, and we are going to zoom in on the installer itself. Just drop this camera down here a little bit. Right there, so we're recording the screen instead of me. I mean, obviously, you know, we don't want to have to see me here. We want to see the screen more than anything. So we are going to do that, and we are going to get this installer. I watched one guy the other day on a YouTube video somewhere, and he was talking about doing this install with his server, and it took an incredible amount of time, and he recorded the whole thing. But and if that happens here, I'm going to edit this down a little bit to make it a little faster, and I'll tell you if that happens. So again, right now it's doing the install jobs here. It's loading up the stuff off the DVD drive like it should be. So it's doing the loading here, and imagine it's loading it right now. It's loading all this stuff into the RAM memory, so it can actually push this over on to the actual flash drive. Let's see if that is going to be the case here. And I'm actually, did you hear I mentioned flash drive? I'm installing this on a 4 GB thumb drive. The thumb drive is in a USB port in the back of the server, and that way it allows me to use both the internal disks for my VMs. I didn't want to use one of my disks because these are only, I think these are less than 40 GB disks. These aren't very, this isn't a very big server, and this is only used, as I said, for training. So what the thumb drive allows me to do is load the ESXi onto that, and then I can boot from that. But I could use my internal drives for my VMs, for my virtual machines, and that's what I wanted to do. That was the goal of this server. So it's coming up here. We're going to take a look. It's initializing the 5.5. And this actually has, it says it has 2 Intel Xeon processors at 3 GHz. And 4 gigs of internal memory. So it's not a major server, but this server could not be or should not be put out to pasture at all, to be honest with you. This server needs to be in the working environment. You can use it for something. If I would have to guess, and I put the server in a rack somewhere, maybe a small business, you could even use this maybe as a Quicken server. You know, if you have a couple people using Quicken, it would be really nice for that. So again, as you can see it installing here, and the server's naturally, as you can see here, it's in the basement. That's usually where we keep servers. And you probably hear the furnace here going occasionally, but that's part of the joys of doing videos in the basement with the with the furnace not too far from me. Of course, the fans you're hearing right now are coming from the server. So we don't leave this Dell PowerEdge running at nights anymore. I did when I first bought it, but that made it very difficult to sleep because you can hear these fans through the house. And that was kind of interesting. So right now, as I said, I'll probably take this video right about here, and we're going to edit this down a little bit. We'll cut some of this part out. Or you'll just see it. Maybe I'll go over it and I'll try to make it fast forward, and we'll just do it real fast and we'll go through this stuff, because watching this is like watching paint dry. But it is working. You can see it is it's pushing it out there. It's starting up some services. And what I really heard about this that I really thought was kind of interesting is that apparently now you can see your VMs, and we're going to test this after a while. Now I'm going to film it also, but you can apparently have your VMs and the interface and everything. You can bring that right up on okay, so we have to continue here. Let's hit the enter button here. We're going to accept the terms and conditions. Press F11. Now it's scanning for the available devices where it's going to install to. So we're going to have to install this. So and here you can see I do have a thumb drive here. It actually looks like it's an 8 gig. So I'm going to go off. Okay, these are almost 70 gigabyte hard drives. But we're going to put it on this Kingston drive, and that's my thumb drive. We'll hit enter. And it's going to look at it. It's going to see the 5.1. It's going to say, okay, I'm going to upgrade this. And where I was going about this, you can apparently work on this now, and I hope this is the case because this has been huge for us at work. We do use Macs on our desktops at work. We have Mac laptops. We have iPads. To be able to control these VMs with a web interface. I understand this whole system has a new web interface they integrated, and that's going to make it really nice. So we will see if that's the case. The way we do it now is we have to go back to our Windows machine. Okay, ESXi found. The selected storage device contains an upgradable installation. So we're going to install. We're going to use the default keyboard, my password, there's my password. Now it's going to scan the system, and that's going to start loading up here for us. So yeah, if this has a web interface, and we can use a web interface, guys, it's going to be pretty amazing for us to do so. And the server is chugging along to load this up onto that thumb drive in the back here. So hopefully we got everything rocking and rolling there, and getting a move on for the new 5.5 of ESXi. And I still very much run ESXi in my network. At this point we have 2 physical servers. Both of those have ESXi on them, and we have 6 servers running on top of those. So there's 3 on each physical box. And folks, it runs fine. ESXi is a great piece of software. And if you take that shot and you go through my class, my ESXi class, my course online, you'll see in there that the problem with ESXi is it doesn't have that failover safety mechanism. Or if you listen to my podcast, tipsfromtheserverroom.com, and pick up that podcast on iTunes, we did virtualization just a couple weeks ago as a podcast, and I talk about the downside of ESXi. But the positive side is it's free. You can virtualize your servers for free, and that's a very, very positive note to be able to do so. I'll try to walk around here. And got to buy myself a bigger switch for my central unit down here. Okay, it says warning, hardware virtualization warning. Hardware virtualization is not a feature of the CPU, okay, or it's not enabled in the BIOS. Alright, I understand that. Confirm the install. Hit F11 to install. And we're going to install this ESXi 4.5. A lot of companies started getting rid of these Dell PowerEdge servers because they don't have virtualization on the CPU. You can pick these things up, folks, for like a couple $100, right? A couple $100, and they ship them to you. They're very, very heavy. I don't know what they're paying to ship these things out, but it's still a very good server. That's what I'm saying. It's a very good server. You can't go wrong with having one of these Dell PowerEdge 1850s. We still have 2 of these in our rack. One is currently being used right now as a secondary DNS server, and that's all it does. It gets pounded all day with DNS inquiries and lookups, and it runs fine. So right now, as you can see, we're at 22%. We're moving along here. And as again, the biggest reason for me wanting to do it here on my test network with my home server is to get the feel for this new 5.5, and to be able to upgrade my servers at work without hurting my VMs. And that's what we were really concerned about. If we upgraded, would it kill the VMs? And you know, we didn't want that to happen, that's for sure. So we're hoping all the settings and everything will carry over. Okay, I did notice, if you noticed there, it was stuck on 28% for a long time. It was to the point where I was going to try to reboot it or something, but now we're slowly moving again. We're at 45% and counting. So if your server gets to 28% and stops, don't touch it. Go have some lunch, go get a cup of coffee or something, but don't touch your server. Let it go, because you will ruin the installation. I don't know what file that is. It doesn't really tell you. If you notice when they're loading this stuff, when they install these screens, it's ANSI graphics. I used to do this programming decades ago, and now it's back with these installs. But you know, you're at that low BIOS type level, that DOS level, installing. It's a Linux kernel, is what ESXi or VMware is. And it resembles Linux, right? the way the ANSI screens are. So it doesn't tell you what file it was sitting at, but it was a very long time. Now we'll see how long it sits at 73%. Okay, so now we're at 90%. We're moving on. It got stuck at 70% there for a little while also. All right, now it's ready to reboot. So it looks like everything's ready to go. It says to remove the installation disk naturally, right? Why would we leave it in? Let's pop that out right now. So we're going to remove our install disk. And I'm going to have to probably get my laptop and go up and get the key number. I don't know if it's going to ask for a key when you upgrade or not. Maybe not. Let's see what happens here. We're going to hit enter to reboot. And naturally just pop my DVD drive out again there. So we hit reboot and we will see what happens. See if I have to put another key number in for 5.5, even though it was licensed for 5.1. So I wouldn't know why you'd have to, because it just upgraded the software. And it's already warning me the process is going to take a little time to upgrade now to reboot. So the server downed itself. And now we'll go ahead and get a reboot here and see how it goes. And you can set these servers, as I imagine probably can any server, you can set it to boot to that flash drive. So I set that as my primary boot drive, is the thumb drive. And so it's like having an SSD drive in a server, because flash drive is flash drive, right? It's very fast. When it boots, comes up, it's pretty rapid. It's a shame I haven't, I'm going to have to, I guess I'm going to have to write the, or take a picture of the IP address when this comes up so we can manage it from the upstairs office. Hopefully the quality of this video is okay. You're watching it, I'm filming this with my my camcorder, obviously, because you can't do screen capture because it's for obvious reasons, right? There's no Windows on there. It's not a Mac. I can't do a screen capture. And this is an actual server. It's not a virtual machine. So there you have it. So right now we're just coming into the boot process. It's just going through the standard load up of all the different devices and parts and pieces of the operating system here for the ESXi. And folks, if you're just now using VMware and you said, well, I was hoping this video was going to be a fresh install file, it's the same basic process to freshly install 5.5. The only thing different with this install is it's seen my 5.1 on that flash drive and it upgraded it instead of doing a new install. Works the same way. Very, very simplistic. Again, right about now, we're going to fast forward up until the part where it starts to actually load the screens up. Here we go. Alright, now you can see we're actually booting up into the operating system, into VMware 5.5. It's actually loading up all the kernels and everything that has to load up here, and getting prepared to start the services back up for the virtual machines. So we are well underway. It does in fact say VMware ESXi 5.5.0. Gives me the build release, so I know what build it is, and so it's booting up here and getting ready to go. Okay, so at that point it's booted up, it's ready to go. We can see that everything on the server is fired up. We're going to get the IP address and we're going to go into the management mode there and be able to manage this actual server itself. I have to bring this back out as a wide shot here. We're going to bring my tripod back up a little bit, right about there, so you can see me more, I guess more. Okay, so that's about it. The server's running. We're good to go, and we're going to take this video now upstairs. I'm going to clean it up for you, and well, obviously you didn't know that because you didn't see the parts I deleted. So, but I hope this helps you to upgrade your VMware ESXi 5. Whatever to, it should at least be 5.0 to go to 5.5, but I believe it'll do 4.8 or 4.9 upgrade to 5.5. So you're good to go and you're going to be fine. I'm going to take a snapshot actually of my IP address here. We use our phones a lot for this stuff. These phones are remarkable because we don't write things down anymore. And I'm going to take a picture of it here so I have the address, the management address, so I can go upstairs now and manage a server. The last thing you would do actually with your server is put your cover back on to make it look all, you know, nice and pretty and everything here. And the water's going there. Okay, so thanks for watching. Hopefully it helped you. And remember to go to my website, jackstechcorner.com or tipsfromtheserverroom.com, and check out the online courses. You'll be very, very happy you did, and you'll learn even more on how to manage this thing. Till next time, take care from Jack's Tech Corner. Bye for now.